The work that Nautical Manufacturing and Fulfillment is undertaking with hiring individuals with disabilities who have experienced high barriers to work is amazing. So thank you for that.
There are extraordinary abilities that are nested in people who've experienced hardship.
Mr. Sanderson, I'm reading through your testimony. I think you said most of it, but one of the recommendations is for us to look at ways to encourage public and private partnerships, so there is more of a collaborative model to benefit employers and the community employment agencies, like the one that Mrs. Walsh runs. What changes would that involve, or how would that look in practice?
Yeah, I think there's probably several ways to do it. I think there's probably movement that needs to happen on both sides of that. And it's not as if this is an either or, but I think there are some employers who just aren't quite fully educated on the benefits of working with organizations who are helping people get job ready who have disabilities. And I know that term disability, there are organizations that use diverse ability. It's not just a novelty. There are extraordinary abilities that are nested in people who've experienced hardship. It's unfortunate that people have experienced that hardship, and there's no good reason why it occurred, but if somebody is able to make it through that experience, they are generally in a better position to be exactly the kind of employee that somebody's looking for. So I think there's an opportunity to educate employers on, one, the organizations that are doing this in their area. I think there are a lot of employers that don't know it, and it's not because they don't want to know it. Their heads down, they're in their weeds, they're trying to grow their business. They may not know that there is an organization or multiple organizations training people specifically for their industry. So I think that there's awareness generally changes everything. It's a bit hard to pinpoint, but you know it when you see it, and you can't unknow it once you're aware of something. And so I've been fortunate enough to come from that other side of the ledger. So I came into the for-profit world knowing all these organizations that are providing these services and getting people to a place where they can engage meaningfully in employment. So I think if I had to pick one, I would probably start there. Some attempt to educate employers on the organizations around them that are basically building a pipeline to workforce for them, and they don't know it.
Go to Mr. Sanderson, actually. It's clear that American businesses, they want to hire and promote, right? They want to hire and promote the best person for the job. However, we've heard today that for those receiving disability insurance benefits, it's not that simple to say yes to a new job and next promotion or more hours. How do employers navigate these rules? And if the program was simpler, do you think that employers would be more effective at providing opportunities for individuals with disabilities?
Well, thank you for the question. I think the short answer to the last part of that is yes. Anything that's simpler makes it easier to make decisions. Some of this is driven by the kind of difficulties in understanding benefits to begin with. I've experienced situations where somebody was telling me something, it was really difficult to know whether or not that was true because I wasn't the person receiving the benefit. So I can go try to look it up on their behalf. I'm probably in a worse position to find the right answer than them. So it really does, it kind of is a problem that ends up creating challenges at both ends. Because on the employer side, it is difficult to navigate. And there are some instances where people are actually just scared to share because they've shared before, and it's led to them either not being hired or being released, something Mr. Tyree shared. So I think we do have the demystification, I think was a word used earlier. I think that is crucial to simplify all of these programs and benefits because it will make it easier for the employer too, and it will make the information flowing to the employer from the recipient more accurate. So yeah, I think in general, simplification would be extremely helpful for both employer and recipient.
In my congressional district and throughout the country, we hear from a broad cross-section of industries the common challenge of meeting workforce needs to build a strong economy. You mentioned in your testimony that your involvement was spurred through an innovative partnership not born out of sense of corporate social responsibility, but out of, quote, clear-eyed assessment of our business needs, seeking a pool of qualified, dedicated individuals, and we had roles that needed to be filled. As the title of this hearing is Tapping Untapped Talent in America, how can empowering those with broader spectrum of abilities serve to spur economic capacity and meet workforce challenges?
Yeah, so the relationship with Down Syndrome Innovations, I think, is a proxy example for a broader set of principles that really apply to multiple industries in multiple ways. In the light industrial space, pick, pack, fill, kitting, depacking, repacking, we have a lot of seasonal work, a lot of work that is tied to holidays, and because of that, it is difficult to maintain a workforce consistently, so we end up using a lot of temp services. Temp services are quite regularly pulling a pool of people who can't access the employer directly because of their background. So this intersection of social service world and employment, especially at the staffing level side, they collide. With Down Syndrome Innovations, one benefit that we got immediately was they were working with such a big pool of candidates, self-advocates, that there was all kinds of different schedule needs. So we could flex in and out of seasonal work and not have to worry about somebody needing full-time employment, but us only being able to employ them for 3 weeks at a time. That is a very, very big challenge in that space. I'm sure that's true of other industries. So I think that's one of the benefits of these kinds of partnerships, is that there are organizations who are actually already creating space for that exact kind of variability. That works phenomenally. Also on very specific things like quality control. There are individuals who, if you tell them find every single dented can, they will not miss one. There are also individuals who will be looking at their phone, who will be distracted. So there really is an extraordinary ability baked in that is far superior to conventional labor for some of these groups that we've marginalized or just otherwise, because of perception, assume that it's just not the right fit. The last thing I'll say there is that our own supervisors on the floor, there was a hesitancy because they were worried about saying the wrong thing and working with Down Syndrome Innovations team. So again, DSI was great in educating us that what their self-advocates wanted was the same experience everybody else got. So the way that you mitigate that difference is to just treat people exactly the same. And that was extremely helpful for our team to hear. And we had supervisors who went from a little concerned to very quickly saying, I only want to work with their team, and I only want to work with their self-advocates. And I think that is true in general of people who are coming to the table with things that we've identified as disabilities. It's not a monolith, it's broad brush, but in general, there's a different perspective there. And it's a perspective that fits very, very well with somebody who wants to learn, grow, and advance. So I just think that there's just, it truly is untapped, and it doesn't need to be.
My question is, we need work. And in my home state of Florida, right now, we're challenged to fill all of the work, the jobs that need to be filled. In fact, for every 100 jobs, we only have 88 people to fill them. Mr. Sanderson, you have already come out of the gate. Your organization has found the hidden gem of hiring people that are already receiving SSI and SSDI in order to address the worker participation crisis. Can you explain the benefits, how that worked? Can you do it quickly? Because we're in lightning round. I'm in a hurry.
Yeah.
What say you, Mr. Sanderson?
I'll do it as quick as I can. I think the basic idea of aligning what you need, and then what are we looking for when we're looking for employees? We're looking for people who are engaged, who are consistent, who are reliable, and who build a culture of positivity and growth mindset. Again,
It's not charity. I mean, they're getting value. You're getting value. They're getting value. That's the way it should work. And you've discovered the hidden gold mine, right? Is that correct?
Yes, I think so.
Mr. Sanderson, let me turn to you with a question. It's clear from your testimony that many employers want to hire individuals with disabilities. In your written statement, you say, quote, "We addressed critical staffing challenges while our employees gained purpose, fulfillment, and economic independence. The work that Nautical Manufacturing and Fulfillment is undertaking with hiring individuals with disabilities who have experienced high barriers to work is amazing." So thank you for that. You and your company, I think, set individuals up to find their purpose in life, to follow it, and to fulfill it, to find a place of value within their community, and to make them more economically independent. That's what we want for everybody. So let's go back to your testimony. You said many employers want to hire individuals with disabilities, yet it's clear many beneficiaries don't feel that that's the case. How do you account for this disconnect?
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of the misunderstanding and confusion around what goes, what stays, it's a great thing when somebody starts earning more money, and that feels good. If there's something that was helping support us expense that goes away at the same time, the numerator went up, but the denominator went up too, and what that person is experiencing day to day may not have changed. They may still have a deficit in their net income, even though they're now making more. And so one of the challenges that most people start at a job in a company at an entry level, and they work their way up, manager, director. That entry level job, that salary, the perception is, and sometimes the reality as well, is that people then lose some of the support either in cash or expense assistance. And so that jump is very, very difficult. And it's broad numbers, it's different for industry to industry, but if somebody needs to come into an industry making $80,000 to $100,000 a year to get past that deficit, that's a very difficult ask for anybody, including employers. So I think that's part of the challenge, is that there are some programs don't work like that, and there's a perception that it does, and some actually do work that way, and then it's just confusion all the way around. So I also think there are some employers who are just so in the weeds that scaling back and recognizing that a long-term strategy for employment and retention will actually be a little bit hard on the front end, but translate into bigger margins on the back end. That's a difficult ask. It's a difficult pitch to make sometimes if you've got a short-term vision.